See, that's how I show OBS who's boss. Alright, you guys have made it to the Temple of the Gods. The long journey, well, half of it behind you. You have laughed together, lived together, loved together, hated together, felt grossed out, stressed out, bugged out, sin, and all of the above. But now the harsh winds and the cold blowing through this as you ascend up the steps to this temple. It's not. You imagined that this journey would bring you to probably something a little more. And yet, you find a place to shelter the cart, and you make it up to the top of the steps of the temple. It is very cold, very windy, and very alone right now.
We're not alone, but we're together, right?
No, each of you are by yourself. No, I'm kidding.
Just making sure.
Did anyone have a moment right there where they felt like they were by themselves? Yes.
Leofson nods.
Okay, I'm glad it wasn't the only one.
But I looked around and I saw all of you still there.
That's inspiring. You should I should sew that into a pillow.
Leofson starts exploring. Kind of steps forward and starts looking around.
Okay. On the outside, the columns every 10 feet or so hold up the outside, and it clearly seems to wrap around at least the parts of this building that you can see. There is obviously a deep, there is a building inside. There are two bronze doors that are about 12 feet high that arch together and separate right in the middle. Not much in the way of decoration. Definitely seems like it is this you can tell at least from maybe the state of the building of this temple that it has been around for quite some time. The mountain, there's a larger mountain just behind it. If you were to go to the back, perhaps you would be able to scale a slightly higher elevated mountain. But turning around and looking from the top of the steps, you can see just the curve of the world. Maybe not as clear as, the wind and the snow is causing a bit of a haze, in your vision. It would be like when you perhaps maybe have left, Jomsborg and the snowy peaks and looked upon the kind of flat plains of the area when you first made it down here. But the curve of the earth is a rather impressive sight. You feel like you could see for miles, but nothing of major note is nearby. Perhaps maybe what you believe a tree off to the west, very, very, very far away, and it must be a rather big tree in order to see it from this distance, but other than that, snow builds up in the corners of the in the corners and edges of these columns. What else are you looking for?
Just looking around if there's specific altars or a clear area where a ritual should be performed.
Other than the doors, and knowing seeing what's inside, you don't see anything out here. There is a large statue about 20 feet from the doors. It's kind of the middle point between the top of the stairs and the doors themselves. And it is of it's a perfect sphere with a ridge going around that looks like a snake meeting itself at the top and eating its own tail.
The Austin's very interested in it, so he walks up to go check it out. Particularly the snake part.
Yes, then what'd you find?
He points up at the statue. I think I know that.
Give me
Is that the
a...
Baba Yaga?
Oh no.
Leofton, go ahead and give me a history check.
I don't know shit. 3.
You've not heard of you've heard of the term, but with a snake you're unsure with what the meaning is behind it, but the snake eating itself reminds you of just infinity, of just a story perhaps once told around a campfire of, you know, how there's a belief out there that life is a cycle and will end up repeating itself, perhaps with various differences, but this life that you are during the story in which this was told, this life was not your first one, nor will it be your last.
Well, I thought he might know it because Jormungandr. Yeah, how do I say that? Jormungandr is a serpent giant. It's the Norse version of the Ouroboros. It's a snake that's biting its own tail, and it's said to wrap around the entirety of Midgard. So, with a history check, you wouldn't know that.
Not with a 3.
Okay.
But you do recall a story about a snake eating itself, and that little bit of tidbit of information.
Okay.
Do I know what it is?
Yeah, do I know anything?
Are we going to have everyone roll knowing that Leofton rolled a 3, or is Leofton going to tell everybody what it means and everyone will take it as
I want
truth?
Mara to know what it is and be a show-off.
Okay. Then I guess I will allow for additional rolls after the fact.
I also want Mara to know what it is and be a show-off.
Somebody blow on my dice. Oh no!
I'm sorry, I blew too late. I'm so sorry.
I know more than you.
Mara doesn't know shit. She's never left the woods.
Leofson turns to Poppy, kind of speaking loud enough for everybody, and recites that he's heard a story about snakes eating tails and the concept of infinity, and maybe the suggestion that when one thing ends, another begins, and it might be a connection.
Snakes don't eat their own tails. That's ridiculous.
Leofson gestures up at the statue.
How impractical.
Tendi says, Leofston, this is not real snake. It's just statue. And Tendi, like, pats the stone nearby.
Leofson really patiently, quietly, defeatedly, tiredly sighs and just leaves it at that.
I'm glad you knew what it was because I definitely didn't.
I assume that we're away from the cart completely, right?
The cart's down a couple flights of stairs, but there you find a section where that kind of shields the horses from the wind.
Okay. Well, Sin is walking with just a handful of giant boar carcass.
Oof.
You walked up all those stairs with it.
It's very heavy.
Yeah, it looks really heavy. Good luck. Poppy walks away.
Do you require assistance?
I'm okay, I guess. I'll just take a rest here while everybody's looking at the snake.
Well, apparently it's a statue. It's not a snake. Looks at Tendy.
It looks like a snake. Just it's a circle.
It's a metaphor.
Tendi thinks it's a statue. But okay.
A little sassy cat.
Oh, Tendi.
Not Tabaxi. It's like, humans, man, they always try to find meaning in everything.
Oh man, it's like in school when like your English teacher was always like, "This is the meaning behind the book," and I'm like, "Well, I've written a book before, and I had no thoughts." So
Yeah, and Tendy's the kind of person that's like, maybe their clothes were blue because they liked blue. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, their clothes were blue
Really?
because they were sad.
yeah, it's like they were in a state of sorrow. They were mourning the past that they left behind. Obviously. Mhm.
When they put their blue clothes on, that's when they yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I were ever to be depicted, I would hope that when people look upon my Super Mario T-shirt, they would be like, I believe he put that on every morning to say, "Let's-a go." But yes,
That is very good.
thanks.
I hate you.
I'm gonna replace Chris Pratt in the movie.
Please. We're dying for it.
Yeah, could you?
We need a personality somewhere.
Anyways, you all are outside the temple. One of you has a very large boar.
She's holding
well
a plate
preserved.
of cookies that she had in the preservation.
What kind of cookies? Very important.
They're chocolate chip.
Oh, very good.
How did you keep that separate from the giant boar that was in there?
I put it in a bunch of bags
Mmm.
and then like moved. It had its own little corner, you know. It's at the front.
Like, I imagine Sin, like, stuffing this boar into it, and then Poppy just, like, trots up after him and just puts a plate down. There, and I helped.
Yes.
Is there like a door to go inside, or is it like an open situation?
There is, again, there's the 12-foot tall bronze double doors that in an archway that has the split right down the middle. So, like, each door is half of this archway, but it goes from bottom to top, 12 feet tall.
It's not going to go well, but I would like to open a door.
Okay.
Love Roger.
You open it.
I solved the door puzzle.
You've done it. I'm
We
proud of you.
finally did it, guys.
It's a long time coming.
You imagine that the door would be much harder to open given your strength and the size, and then as the door opens you see how thick the door is, and it's actually really thick. And at the last moment, as the door kind of clears your periphery, you see an old man that is on the other side pushing on the door, opening it as well, assisting you. And this man is bundled up, but through the scarf that is wrapped around not only his neck but also the top of his possibly bald head, a very long gray and white beard pokes through that reaches to about his bottom of his torso. His eyes kind of squint as it's obviously much brighter out here than it is inside the temple. And he looks down and sees you and the rest of everyone and kind of goes, "I wasn't expecting visitors. Hello?"
Hello. Hello.
Yasa nods.
Good day.
You must be rather cold. Come in. Come in. And he leaves the door open for you all to proceed inside.
Tendy, you were so strong opening that door. Tendy has learned so many things from Leofston.
Then catches Prudence. How are you faring?
Just
cold. I'd like to get inside.
Understood. I'm frightened.
She places a hand on his shoulder. You are strong and capable. I'm sure your gift will be more than adequate. Chin up.
I guess you're right. I should be I'll just I'll believe in it, I guess, my gift.
You have to. That was the one stipulation, is that we had to believe in what we were giving.
Tendi would like to cast something to help Sin. Tendi goes over to Sin and puts their little paws on his arm and squeezes their eyes real tight. And then little sparkles come from his arm, and Tendi pats it and goes,
Tendi, give self-confidence to Sin.
Tendi cast prestidigitation and nothing else. I cannot do that, but I will pretend.
Thank you, Tindy. It'll come in handy, I guess. I do feel better.
You're wearing leather, right?
Who?
You?
Me? Yeah.
It the sparkles and make it look like it has been freshly shined, and as the sparkles begin to fade, it resumes its normal look. But you do, it does look very, very like the prettiest leather that you've seen in a while.
And kind of walks with a bit more pep, thinking that he is being assisted.
At this point, the old man is gone rather far inside the temple.
I hope that we don't lose him
Leosin
from
follows.
talking.
Leosin's following him already.
Yes.
Name.
And Tendi points to the guy.
Oh, sure. Prudence jogs up beside the old man, and she bows at the waist.
Oh, you're fast.
I'm sorry.
You're quite fast.
That's my thing. What's your name?
Forgive me. Harlow is my first name.
All right. I will call you Harlow. I am Prudence.
Prudence, pleasure to see you. Welcome to the temple.
Are you here on your own?
I oftentimes spend much time up here in the fall and winter months. My husband comes and joins me, and we switch off about a month in between, and he watches the temple, and I go back down to our house and tend to animals and such.
So you do not get to see each other, except in passing?
We spend about a month. We share a month together here before the other departs. It's not too long until we see them again.
Does he seem like he's ill? Or just old?
Old? Medicine check. Give me a medicine check.
Okay. $13.
Your best guess, an old with a cold.
Okay. I don't think I have anything to help him, unfortunately. So it's just you and your husband, just the two of you, so you're alone right now? There's no one else here in the temple?
Yes, I hope you're not looking to rob. We don't have anything of value.
Convicts do not rob, they only help.
The name like that, I find that rather hard to believe.
I steal anything with a face like this?
Probably. You have my
To hide
word.
from people.
We're actually here not to rob, but to give.
Oh. Donation to... I manage to be able to fend for myself just fine up here, or were you coming to pledge an offering to the gods themselves?
The latter.
Well, perhaps I could show you around a bit.
That would be most appreciated.
I would just kindly ask that desiccated boar be probably placed in one spot. I don't know what good it would be to drag it throughout the halls.
Did you hear the man, son?
Drop it!
Drop it.
But I have to present it.
Well, he's going to show us around. You can come back for it, surely.
Okay. I guess if you think it'd be fun here, I'll put it down.
Unless you want to carry it, the cold doesn't do it keeps most of the smells away. But the wind is rather drafty, so it'll eventually make us stink. Well, if you're planning on staying for a night, we do have some spare accommodations, although they are rather... They're certainly not the type you'd see at an inn or anything fancy. They will do for a night's rest.
It is gracious, and we accept your offer of aid. Thank you. Anything is better than the cold outside.
I assume you brought proper accommodations for such a trip. Food and water and the like.
Of course, it would be suicide to walk into the mountain without proper provisions. Are you from around here in these mountains?
It's not a place for miles. Unfortunately, I come from another area with mountains, but not quite as beautiful as the sights that we have here. There's a place up north.
What is it? Are we like walking and talking as we're walking to the temple?
He's showing you the bedroom, the common bedroom, which has just, like an almost infirmary ward. It's got like bed, nightstand, bed, nightstand, bed, nightstand, and a footlocker at the base of the bed. And there's like, against each wall there are beds. There's like one window in the middle. It is probably no wider than 1.5 feet. And it's just stone, and there's a slight breeze that blows through, but the window itself is so small, it doesn't actually feel too cold in here.
Is the temple like pretty sparse, or is there artwork or statues or like any like depictions of the gods at all?
No, it is actually rather barren. There's not anything on the walls. There, you may catch a ruined tapestry or drapery in one section, or like half of one. Like one side has it, but the other one doesn't. But no, it's rather bare. In fact, part of an area you walk by has a hole in the roof, and and it seems like vines have sort of, well, growing out from perhaps what would be like a bath, had it not be for the fact that the water is, imagine stagnant water that's like a bit of moss on it, or algae, and then it just froze over. And withered vines kind of crawl up the side to a point and then obviously stop. But there's like a pile of snow that's in like the corner that's kind of ramping up about a few feet. But no artwork, no statues.
So that hole in the roof, it's not purposeful. He said something like a bath, so like my mind wandered. Like, did they make a bath in the middle of the roof? I'm sorry.
It's kind of like the sun would come in and also help heat the water, perhaps maybe in the summertime, but
it is purposeful. They made it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought it was like maybe like a hole in the roof. So,
I did too.
Okay, I was gonna offer to patch it up.
Now, fun fact: this is actually where the comet fell that killed all the dinosaurs.
Wow.
You know what? Okay, never mind. I have a rant about things with dinosaurs and like they're cute dinosaurs. You see it all the time. They're like cute little dinosaurs, and the asteroid is coming to them, and it's like, oh, it's so cute. But I'm like, nah, man, that shit's sad. Imagine being the dinosaurs of that age and being like, all of our depictions are of us running away from the thing that fucking killed us.
People literally go to look at the blackened shadows of people who died at Mount Vesuvius, so...
Oh, that's... my parents have been there.
It's kind of just what people do.
I just want shit with cute dinosaurs on it that's not them running from their imminent demise. Anyways.
No, we must all remember our mortality.
Nah!
And this right here is the dining quarters. Lots of places to sit and eat. We only have one large cauldron.
Prudence kind of bends down to Tendi. Is there something you wanted to say, love?
Harlow is okay. Harlow is coughing lots.
It's very dry up here. I'm still getting used to my stay. It's a thing where the change in altitude. I've been here, but maybe two weeks at this point.
Can I do an insight check on this dude?
Well, a month and 2 weeks. Yes.
Yeah, I'm curious. I want to know if he's like, I can feel him if he's sick, but...
Which one is my insight? It's on this page. Ooh.
Tendi casts Advil Cold and Flu.
Yep.
Alright, Mara, what was it?
Tea with lemon.
Mara, what are you trying to determine
I'm
about
just trying
Harlow?
to tell if he's like being truthful.
Okay.
In general. What's the vibe? Can I do a vibe check?
His vibe is he is very very old and it doesn't sound from his explanation so far that this place sees a lot of guests.
I find it more just sus that he's like, oh, I haven't been here that long, and also like, do you guys have a bunch of shit on your cart? Like, what you doing here?
Well, he hasn't asked anything about your cart yet.
He asked if we brought stuff with us to survive the winter.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you can't sense that he's trying to that he has any ulterior motives.
Okay. That's all I wanted to. Thank you. Also, I haven't done anything. I haven't rolled anything for a couple games.
I know you.
I just wanted to roll my dice.
Oh, if you guys want to roll something, I can.
No.
There'll be plenty of that soon, I'm sure.
Pretty much, you guys will be like, "Can we stop for one moment? I just want to go back to the good old days when we just role played."
Actually, you just reminded me of something that I do kind of need to roll for.
The bathrooms, by the way, forgive, they're as basic as they can be. We don't We don't get many people coming up here, my husband and I.
Prudence is just following along and keeping a mental map, I suppose, of where everything is.
Yeah, Santala is still following.
If you need me, I'm in this room here. It's with the half moon on the door. It looks like an outhouse door, but that's not.
Was I about to say something?
Is it
What
like a room or an outhouse? Now I'm confused.
The door's closed. You can't see anything inside.
But there's a half moon on the door. Can I look through it?
It's not a hole. It's just a half. There's a half moon. Yeah, on the door, carved in the carved into the door.
Prudence turns to Sin. You need to speak up. What were you trying to say?
What is the history of this temple?
Oh, sorry. If you were saying something, it's awfully hard to hear. Feel free to speak up a bit.
I'm just saying, what is the history of this temple?
Well, this is believed to be one of the first temples around for all of the gods of every pantheon. You see many that are dedicated to one particular god. This one is rather neutral. And the fact that it encompasses so many, over the years, decades, in fact, we've seen quite an array of visitors.
Is that why it's so high up in the mountains? To protect it from others who might want to laud their god is better than another?
Who knows, in fact, it's hard to know who, in fact, built this very temple, but some people have told me that they believe they came here because they find themselves closest to the gods themselves up so high.
Is there something special about the area that makes it so neutral? Is it, I guess I don't know how to ask the question, but, just trying to figure out why, of all the places, this is where it is.
Are you trying to ask in character about ley lines or something?
I guess, yeah, just something cool.
Well, this isn't the only temple for all of the gods. Our record, we have at least know of a few others spread out throughout great distances. So there's unfortunately nothing quite special, I would say, about this one. I've only been to 2 myself. What are people saying things and spreading good word about this temple? Should I be expecting more guests in the months to come?
I'm not sure.
I don't expect so, no.
Hmm.
At least I, and she kind of looks around at everybody, I had only just heard of it recently.
Are any of you quite, devout?
Not until recently.
Leostin nods once.
Well, for those of you who made such a long journey on a relatively new discovery of faith in the gods, alone that should be worthy of notice, as it is this distance. It is quite a travel, dependent on where you're from. I'm assuming from the looks and the general positive nature of most of you, you're not from Bratislava, which is the largest place closest to here.
It's Bratislava, the place that had that really weird
The Blood King? Yeah.
Yeah, the Blood King.
Yeah.
That's correct. We all hail from Zobek. Well, not originally. Some of us are from there, but that is all where we come from. Have you heard of it?
Crossroads, yes. when I was perhaps maybe a bit more charming and didn't have a husband, I probably stayed there for a few months.
You're charming now, Harlow. What are you talking about?
Your compliment is nice.
Oh, I love him.
Are any of you familiar, perhaps, with Varnerhall up north? It's between Trollheim and Vargrek. That's where I was born.
Oh, this is the farthest north I have ever been. What about the rest of you?
Tendy has not been so far north.
I never leave Zobek.
Where did you say this was again? Or where did he say this was again?
Tarner Hall? I'm sorry, Varner Hall. When you squint your eyes for a bit, it takes a while for my vision to come back. Varner Hall, it's between Trollheim and Vargrek, which, in relation, it is basically, like, from Jomsborg, you go, there's, like, the Nieder Straits, which is, like, the big, giant, strait that kind of, and there's all those fingers, essentially, that kind of come down. It's in that sort of bay area, a bit inland. It's north of Noten.
Okay, I see it. It's
Yeah.
pretty close to where Bjornheim. So I guess I would imagine Leofson's been up there. Leofson nods. I've been there.
He's from Krakova.
He kind of looks. He goes, I don't know if I've quite seen anyone that looks like you from Krakova. Not that I don't believe you, of course, but
He used to look different.
I suppose I have to. He takes off a bit of... Now that you guys are indoors and there's not really much... You guys are kind of in front of the worshipping chamber at this point. He kind of unravels some of his scarf on his head, and he's just got wisps of white hair. Obviously kind of floating, as the static electricity probably has caused it to not be stuck flat in a comb over to his head.
Sweet boy.
If you don't mind, I'm, since it is cold, I need to start heating up the cauldron for, tonight's, meal. I was preparing on having leek and lentil soup. If that sounds more appealing than what you had brought, kind of looks over at the giant boar that has been laid down. Then perhaps I could make more.
Would you allow me to assist you?
Sure, I suppose. You are here to provide gifts, you said, to the gods?
Well, yes, but that won't take all evening.
Or will it? He says out of character.
No, Jordan, will it?
His voice changes.
Sir?
Sir? Of course, if you find that you are... If your conversations or offerings are quick, you'll know where the mess hall is. I will be there.
Thank you, Paulo. She bows again at the waist.
I didn't quite catch all your names, but perhaps if you meet me in there for dinner, I'll get to know each of you. If you're going to be staying the night, that is.
We probably should stay here. Don't know what to expect, actually, so just assume that we'll be staying.
All I ask is that you treat the inside with in here with respect, and if you feel the absolute need to take things that aren't yours, no, I can't quite stop you, but he kind of like pauses and just goes, "Well, I'll see you."
Andy just wants to give gift to Grandpa.
So he kind of like, did he point us to like an area in which this is like a place to give things, like an altar? Or...
So yeah, you stopped in front of the worshiping hall, which is through a set of doors, which was towards the front. You basically went around what would basically be the worshiping hall in the exact center, and he showed you the bedrooms, then he showed you the mess hall, he showed you his room, well, the door to his room, and then you circled back around, well, rectangled back around. It is not anything fancy, that's for sure.
Sorry, I was answering a DM. Prudence waits for Harlow to leave, and then she kind of stands in front of the doors and looks at each and every one of you. Well, we can go in one at a time if you require privacy. If you'd like, I can go first, and you may watch me. If that would make any of you feel, she kind of looks at Sin, a little bit more at ease.
Wow, Prudence, you're so cool. Just being like, I'm gonna go first. Watch me. Oh, Prudence has so much courage.
I simply wish to put your minds at ease, and I have met my mother, and I do not fear her.
That's good. Seems like a healthy relationship.
Is that what you would like to do? Would you like to watch me first?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, nods.
We should watch you, I guess, and then I'll probably go in by myself, though.
All right.
Okay.
Prudence, go ahead. You're gonna say something?
Well, I was gonna say, we'll send scream if something bad happens. But
Yes, and we will just be right outside the door for you if you need us. Although I'm not quite sure what we can do against gods. We can certainly try.
we can ask them to stop nicely. Yes. And also cry.
Prudence will pull open the doors to the Hall of Worship.
Okay. As most of you can see, this place has better lighting than the rest of the place. There are many candles that are lit on kind of the sides of the wall, like different layered, like raised seating, stadium seating, kind of that look on the edges. There is a about 3 foot high, about 6 foot wide, just stage, or like a not a table, but sort of a stone. Well, you can't really tell it's stone, but a presentation area with a nice dark green, like velvety cloth on it. The cloth is you can imagine that more time and care has been kept into keeping this room up to date, or at least not up to date, but more like presentable in honor of the gods than the rest of this place. You can tell that there were at one point in time statues in here, only a few, but you can only tell that because of the bases of the statues are here, and maybe up to about the shin, you would say. But the rest is gone or absolute rubble that has probably been removed over time due to, it not being a trip hazard.
Prudence will walk down what I'm assuming is an aisle and sort of wait for everybody to seat themselves before she begins, turning to watch them and do so.
Austin, can I sit next to you?
There
You know,
there are pews, yeah. Sorry.
Tindy, come sit.
Well, she gives all of you a smile, and then she nods kind of to herself and turns around. And then she'll walk forward. And she looks a little lost, but she kneels sort of like she did at the temple before in Zobek. When Lady Rava kind of taught her how to pray to herself, or pretended to pray to herself. And she'll clasp her hands. Lady Rava, it is me, Prudence, your daughter. I have arrived at the temple to offer you a gift. Is there like any sort of like anything that happens at all?
No.
Nothing, just silence?
Mhm.
Okay. Lady Rava, I wish to give you a choice, although I'm not sure how I will know what you decided to take. My gift to you is memory. I have one to offer, but if you find it inadequate, then I will allow you to choose one of your liking. And then she furrows her brow and she begins to conjure up a memory of a stage, and it's an outside stage, and it's gilded with golden accents, in which a play is going on with a whole bunch of actors. Does she feel like anything at all, like positive or negative, or hear anything, or?
I mean, you don't feel any different.
Okay. Then she continues going through the memory from start to finish. The play takes place in a mythical country where all opposition to the state has disappeared, and the last remaining political prisoner is to be released. Rather than face the prospect of retiring the police force, the chief of police decides to create an enemy of the state by ordering one of the officers to commit political crimes. The absurdity of the play culminates when the characters mutually arrest each other repeatedly in an attempt to restore order and meaning to their world. Prudence's vision during the entire play is completely clear and centered on the stage. She's like very enraptured. I think she saw this maybe when she was a child or a preteen. She thinks, at least she thinks to herself, it's a perfect gift for one such as a god who can play it over and over and over, much like a movie or a VHS tape in our world, and have some entertainment for herself. So Prudence does this. She remembers everything about the memory from start to finish. And then once it concludes, she just continues to kneel until she gets some sort of something, or or she can't remember it anymore, I guess.
You kneel there in kind of a cold silence for what seems like quite a long time, at least till the recent remembering of this very vivid and clear memory in your mind kind of retreats back into your memory banks, your subconscious.
All right. She kind of mumbles to herself. I assume you do not like this memory. Then, Lady Rava, I offer myself unto you to take what it is you wish.
A moment passes, and you feel a slight gust come from underneath the green velvet sheet. Briefly.
I don't know what else to do. I guess Prudence just sifts through her memories, trying to.
The sheet
Almost like
moves. The sheet moves again as a slightly stronger gust of wind billows the blanket that is covering whatever it is on top of.
There's something under the sheet.
I don't know. Is there?
I will lift the sheet.
There we go. So as you kind of lift this nicely crafted velvet blanket or cloth, it is thick like it's thick like a curtain, like in one of the plays that you've seen, and you probably got to at least feel or see what they're like. It's like that, not obviously bunched up like a curtain would be, but it's got a heft to it. So for this thing to blow and billow with the gust, clearly there must be something underneath here that is like opening to the outside, but there's no opening. It is, you see underneath a stone frame of just legs and what would be like a hollowed out rectangle with a flat stone top. So you know how if you look at a table and it's got 4 legs and stuff you can put on top, it's like that but made of stone. And
Like a cauldron?
no, just 3 feet tall, 6 feet wide, 4 stone legs going into the ground, like it was built from this stone that is on top of it, but chiseled out the inside to make it look like you could hide under there if you wanted to. There is nothing under here decorative wise, but there is a pair of gloves.
Okay, I will don the gloves.
You're just gonna put on random gloves someone left behind at a temple?
Why not? It's a temple. What's the worst that could happen?
Okay.
That was a gift to your mother.
You put them on and they seem to fit rather well. You can describe how you would like them to look and I will add one detail at the end.
Gloves for Prudence.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have fingies. They're like knuckle gloves. And they have like the knuckles are reinforced. They're brown. And they have red thread.
Okay. Yeah, the red stitching that obviously puts these 2 pieces of leather together is they seem to look in great condition, considering that most of the things you would imagine from this temple has probably either been destroyed and or taken by visitors in the past. Also basing off of context from Harlem, the keeper of the temple. But on the palms, in the palms do seem like they've been worn before, but in the kind of creases of constant hands being clenched, perhaps maybe on a previous wearer, the red stitching on the palm side is of the fletching of an arrow.
Okay. I have no idea what that could possibly mean. Now, wearing the gloves, Prudence approaches the table and puts her hand on it. Just touches it.
What are you thinking about right now? With your interactions with Rava so far, and her there's seeming to be some sort of reaction after offering up a memory, and kind of in this state of I'm not sure what to be doing. What do you think about?
I guess Prudence is like, maybe I did it wrong. I'm supposed to be doing it ritualistically. I am not religious at all. I don't know, like, if there are steps I need to follow. I probably shouldn't have done this first. But she's thinking that she needs to be a leader, that she needs to show them that they can be strong too. So she's very, like, just up in her own head. But she tries to, like, be like, okay, maybe I need to, like, put something on the table. That's what offerings are. They're usually not, you know, ephemeral's not the word. They're usually physical offerings. And she's trying to offer something that is not. So she just puts her hand on it, like maybe her body can be a conduit.
And so you place your hand on top of the sheet that lays on top of the cold stone table.
Yes.
Moments pass by. Quiet.
Prince's tail begins to flick in irritation. Lady Rava, I don't know what you want from me. I have no other gift to give to you. I am completely positive and sure of this gift. What else could you possibly want from me that is more precious to me than my own memory? She's getting irritated and angry.
Sounds about right.
You can see that Tendi, that her tail like stops flicking for a minute, and she like sort of like looks back over her shoulder, but goes back to focusing on what she's doing.
Wow, Tindy, I can't believe she heard you whisper from all the way up here.
She said Prudence!
She has the best ears. Oh, wait, hold on. Prudence has the best ears. I feel like in another timeline you said that incorrectly, but okay. Prudence got gift from Prudence's mother. Yeah, I said it. It's so cool.
Yes, but that is her irritated face.
Does not look happy.
Maybe gloves don't fit. Do you think she doesn't like the gift?
You think that maybe she didn't realize it was a gift and that somebody left gloves behind?
It would be weird that you put on someone else's gloves without any explanation or knowing.
Yeah, last time somebody put something on, they got carried away by vermin, so I mean...
Poppy looks around.
And then the rats come.
Roll initiative.
Only since it's fletching, it's like a bunch of pigeons.
Oh no, that's worse.
Oh no, it's an arrow, right? Patches comes.
That's better. Where's Jolene?
I got an arrow with your name on it.
And Prudence like run through all of her memories and see if anything is missing at all. Like there's some sort of like blankness of where something should be.
All your memories?
Yeah, all of them.
Okay.
Every single memory I've ever had.
You run through, you in your frustration and defiance of trying to find something that you were expecting, you defiantly go through your memories. And you, I mean, everything that you're pulling up, you seem to remember just fine. Except for one. And you wouldn't know which one that is. Because the memory's gone.
I need a confirmation for her that she did good. You know, like
Oh,
something.
your phone text
Someone has a
message. You get a text message.
Mother, praise me, please.
Gods are weird things, I will tell you that much.
I feel like gods don't normally say that you've been such a good girl, but I could be wrong.
Hey,
Mommy,
Depends
praise
on the
me.
god.
thanks for eating my cracker and drinking a little bit of wine. You're doing good, kid.
I mean blood.
Oh, silly me.
Prudence still doesn't think these gloves are for her, so she takes them off and puts them back on the altar.
Put some on the altar? Okay.
She thinks that they were there for, like, part of the ritual. So she's like, I gotta take these off so somebody else can use them.
Sure.
Oh my god, guys, she didn't like the gift.
And then she, like, looks down at the altar and she seems like confused. And she's like, I'm sorry, rather than I didn't give you what you wanted. And then she turns around and leaves.
Maybe her hands were just cold. Briefly.
Maybe hands is warm now.
Did she leave the altar or like leave the room?
No, she's going back to sit in the pews with you guys. So she plops down. Well, I don't think that went very well. Hopefully one of you has better luck.
Did you not like the gift?
What gift?
The gloves. Gloves is gift from Mother. Mother likes you so much. Mother gave you gift back. Tendy is so excited for Tendy's gift.
I don't understand. Are those gloves not part of the altar? They were there when I walked up.
Well, it's kind of weird if like a whole thing like blows around when there's no wind. You know? That seems like a god thing to do.
They had an arrow on them. I'm not an archer.
And who's your mom?
The old man did say there's nothing of value in this temple, so it could have been conjured.
Poppy told Tendy's story one time about person who put shoes on and got pretty dress, and shoes were gift from Mother or something.
Okay, I guess I will go back up and take them, but I will ask Harlow if they belong to the temple.
Yes. Okay.
She goes back up and brings them back. And she hands them to Leofston, like, have you ever, like, what is this? What am I looking at here?
Leofston looks over and goes, those are leather gloves.
That's what I thought.
Well, try something. Maybe try throwing punch?
Punch me! I can take it.
Do not punch.
I put my hand out for the punch. You got it.
Prudence will put the gloves on and very, very lightly. Just
Poppy dies immediately.
K.O.
Explodes.
K.O.
Shot out of the temple.
Looks like Poppy Honey Blossoms blasting off again.
Yeah.
One
Time
punch
to
is
roll
all
a
I
new
need.
character.
One punch woman.
She puts them on. I will go outside later and try them out.
I'll help you.
Okay. I just think it's better if you have a moving target. I wasn't gonna move, so it might have not been a good one.
Maybe you could throw plates.
I don't have any plates. That feels like a waste of plates too.
Somewhere Harlow goes, alright, here's the 5 final plates that I have that haven't been stolen.
Okay, who's going next?
Yes, who would like to go next? And would you like privacy?
I
Privacy.
kind of want to, but privacy or privacy? Privacy?
I forgot I'm British, so I have to say privacy.
What's the British? I kind of want to go next, but if anyone else wants to first, that's fine.
No, you can go, Poppy. That's fine.
Yeah, so now-
Okay. What's
You-
British pretending? I
Do you
interrupted
want us to remain here or go outside?
Stick around, my guy. British is when, British person is getting gifts from gods.
It's
Tindy's so smart. Poppy will be British soon.
British.
Oh no, it's so much happening.
It's part
I'm
of the gift.
excited to be British. Okay, let's go down.
Poppy flies down.
Somehow I feel a headache coming on.
Poppy, you are approaching the altar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What was that about?
You are... how tall are you?
3 foot even.
Wow, you come right up to the top of that table.
But I'm flying.
But you are flying over the table. So it is, you could tell that it is, in fact, now that you're closer, it is certainly a pretty thick green velvet blanket, rug, whatever this thing is. Probably the most expensive thing you've seen here so far.
What's up, stitching gloves?
This is a really cool table. Hi, Mom. It's me, Poppy. I brought you some gifts like you asked for, but I was gonna give you gifts anyway, but it's fine. So I know that Prue put her hand down on the table after giving the gift. I don't know what the gift was that she gave, but she did it afterward. Do I do it in the same order, or do I put my hand on the table first? Is the hand on the table a thing that I'm supposed to do? It's okay if you don't answer. I'll just do it in whatever order feels right. Okay.
I'm going to. Poppy puts one hand on the table and starts like doing other things at the same time with her other hand. It's like,
Okay, I'll do them both at the same time. Okay, so I got you these cookies. I made them for you. I was thinking maybe you were hungry. Maybe you like cookies. I don't know what kind of cookies you like, but I was confident that you would like these chocolate chip cookies. So, also,
she like reaches into her bag and pulls out a hand sewn scarf, hand knitted. And I just wanted to copy that image, not save it. God dang it. It's like blue and purple and has like these. Sorry, I'm getting a lot of spam messages suddenly. This blue and purple scarf with like these like little tassels at the end of them, and
like, well, I don't know if it's cold where you're at, but I thought it would be really nice if it was cold. You could have the scarf and you could eat the cookies, and then there's also this book that I made. It's kind of just about me. I know you don't really know a whole lot, so I figured I would tell you about myself in this book.
She like puts them all down on the table in front of her, like.
And I know that you said a gift and that I had to be confident, but I wasn't confident about one single gift, but I was very confident about all three of them, so I just did them all.
Poppy like looks around like.
If you look at Prudence, she just, I don't know, man. She just shrugs at you.
Tandy gives a double thumbs up.
Poppy takes that as she did it correctly.
Prudence is like, shit's broken. I don't know what.
Gods aren't real. I don't know.
Have you turned it off and turned it back on again?
Maybe we should have gone to the bougie temple.
Maybe we went to the wrong temple, honestly. Poppy like looks around for like wind or anything, or like any sort of sign that give us a sign.
Where
that
are you currently flying?
No, she landed.
You landed.
Mm-hmm. And is just standing on her tiptoes.
Roll me a perception check.
I'm notoriously great at those.
Whoa. 7.
A few seconds pass, and the wind, like you feel you see the ripple in the green covering shift slightly.
I see it worked.
Poppy lifts it.
How do you lift it?
With my hands. I don't know, man.
Do you just like, do you throw it up to look, or do you like just lift it and look? How do you lift it?
I like fold it over. Like it's like I just like fold it over gently, so like the area that a thing could be would be shown.
So you kind of fold it and put a little bit on the top.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's a really thick, again, very thick covering. More that you were just surprised with the fact that you saw Prudence do it, and you're like, this is heavier than it looks, and you finally get it up and you fold it over. and as you kind of reach and begin to pull, you see kind of silver, blue, and purple sparkles at the bottom, like right underneath where your hands begin to pull up, as if they just fell, where they kind of just, but once you kind of lift it up, you see that there's nothing that caused these shiny pieces of whatnot to fall. And after you saw Prudence, look underneath and find gloves, you saw that there was nothing underneath there. But now there is there is something underneath there.
Oh my god.
It is, well, it appears to be a finely made hood and shoulder piece that is like, it's metallic, but it's like a darkened metallic. But I'll have you describe the rest of what you think this would look like. This is a mantle, like a hood and shoulder combo.
Oh boy. It's like metal, metallic. It's like made out of metal.
Mm-hmm. It's a metallic material. You're not sure what it is, but
okay. I think that the hood has somewhat of like a point to it, to the end of it, and there's like, I don't know if it's actually made out of metal, then I'd say carvings. But if it's not actually made out of metal, then it's just like I don't know, engravings or something of like flowers, and there's like a few sylvan letterings at like the bottom of the shoulders, and Poppy doesn't know what it says, of course, because she only speaks Gnomish. But
and
like,
common.
And common, sorry, my bad. But yeah, there's just, it's very decorated. It's very nice, and it's I was mostly just excited about the pointed hood. Like, that's really all I had. I was like, it's got a point.
I get it. Yeah. The thing is, there is a large tree that is in the center of these two pauldrons, essentially. And there are the flowers you see on the underneath, and the petals themselves are like leaves falling from the tree. And it's very regal looking. It seems like something that like a noble person would wear. You think it's a little too distinguished for you, but this is, in your mind, this is the gift that you have been given.
This is beautiful. Thank you so much. I hope we can talk soon.
You no, go ahead.
No, you go first.
Do you pull the cover back down?
Mm-hmm.
When you do,
scared.
Your offerings and Prudence's gloves are gone. It was so again, it is so thick that it obscured everyone's view from the pews even.
No, I took my gloves.
Oh, you did take the gloves?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well then, yeah, your offerings are gone then.
I was like, why are they gone from my hands?
I was like, oh no, only one of us gets a gift and we have to decide who.
You gotta fight over it. No, it's
This is why we're rolling dice later.
From what I recalled as I was getting stuff prepared was I heard you set them down and then went to go sit back on the
but then
pews.
they convinced me it was a gift and to go back up and
Okay.
get it.
Got it.
Okay,
They
Poppy.
didn't let Prudence be dumb.
Poppy flies up, all giddy. It's like she like put it on, before she like started flying up. She like put it on, all giddy, and then did like a little twirl to like show everybody, like, this is so cool.
Wow, Poppy!
You look beautiful, Poppy.
Oh my god, Angie, that's exactly what I was thinking. Really. Yeah, I was thinking like that fairy coat that I showed you. Oh, that's so cool.
You're cool.
I was kind of
No,
thinking.
you.
I was kind of thinking of that, but like petals going down the shoulders as well.
Yeah. Okay, okay.
Who's next?
Mara will go.
So brave.
So brave.
I don't know.
Do you
Every
wish
time
for-
I look at her, I feel so like happy to be in your presence. You're just so cool.
You wish for us to leave?
Yes.
Okay, get out of here, everybody. I'm kicking you out. Okay.
Kick
I'm gonna
rocks.
guard at the door.
Pick rock.
Nobody gets past me.
Deuces.
We'll go get my gift anyway, so probably for the best.
Tendy will
Wait.
help Finn carry.
Leofton does the Neil deGrasse Tyson and like gets up and leaves the room.
Once everyone's out, she'll like stand in front of the door, like arms crossed, like nobody's gonna pass me. I'm gonna stop you.
Erden's faints to your left and then ducks under your.
Oh, you're so quick.
You must be quicker,
expecting that.
puppy.
That's not my thing.
Okay, so you're all gone.
It's just you, babe.
It's just you and the green cloth of weirdness.
Okay. So can you give me Mara's mom's name again, because I can't spell it, so I didn't write it down.
Yeah.
I know that she's like the goddess of fertility. I may have written it down.
Yorilla.
Yorilla. Let me write that phonetically.
Borilla. Here, I'll get it. There you go.
Okay.
More like vanilla.
Oh, I feel so nervous now. And I totally want to go into Prudence voice. Hello, Urilla. I have brought you an offering. And she, I guess, that's a weird thing to pull out of your pocket. But it's it's like a flower that only grows in like the Margrave forest, and it's encased in like a frozen, like it's like it looks like a snow, like not a snow globe, but it's like a frozen globe, and then the bloomed flowers on the inside. Don't ask how she kept that in her pocket. Couldn't tell you. Magic. So she sets it, kind of like she holds it and kind of like rests her hand that she's holding it with on the table, at the same time places her palm on the table and just kind of like closes her eyes and waits for something to happen.
As you've seen with the look on Prudence's face and Poppy's waiting in anticipation, you find yourself alone and waiting.
She kind of like peeks like one eye open and looks at the curtain to see if it's like moving.
Hmm.
And so she takes her hands off, she like leaves the globe there. She's like, okay, until next time in the forest, I'll make sure to have I'll bring the wine this time. And then she just kind of like starts to slowly back away.
Okay. You back away a few clopped steps.
Clip.
Hey. And there is... Roll me a perception check.
Oof.
You
Somebody weighted these dice.
guys are doing real good tonight. After a few more steps, the large, hefty blanket moves. Just ever so slightly. Perhaps maybe it's a trick of the torchlight or candlelight, but you're pretty sure that you felt it move. Or you saw it move.
The torchlight?
No, the green velvet blanket.
Oh, okay.
Cover. I'm gonna call it a cover from now on. Hold me to that.
Okay. She walks up to it and pulls it back.
And you pull it back and you look underneath.
Yeah.
There is nothing there.
Okay. So she just puts it back.
You put it back and look up on top, and your globe is gone. And in its place are two items. One looks to be a... It's like a scarf, but there's no ends. The closest thing would be you've probably seen maybe people from where you're from wear sashes. What color sash is this?
That's gonna be like a really deep blue, like azul.
Ooh, okay. Okay. There is so it is a very deep it is a deep dark blue, but there is some stitching on it in a slightly brighter blue.
Okay.
It is... Let's see if I can look like this. Let me pull it up and then cut off the portion that says what it is. Snipping tool. Where are you, good buddy?
Windows Shift S.
Yeah, I'm still not used to that shortcut. Okay, here we go. Boop. So in stitching that is mostly just, I know this is probably blue and purple, but this is essentially what it is, just in a slightly brighter blue, is this symbol that you see in the center.
Ooh.
The other item is a flower.
Mama.
It has tufted leaves and an elongated stem and white flowers with yellow kind of tracing the tips.
Does she recognize it?
Roll me a nature check.
Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Wow.
Wow.
Hot dog. This is a very rare plant. And you do know what this is. I don't know how you know what this is, but you know what this is.
I dreamed a dream.
Mm-hmm. This plant, the asphodel, it is known to be associated with death sacrifice and the
Oh.
passage to and from the afterlife. You know at least that if you were to, as an action, eat half of this bloom and place the other half inside the mouth of a dead creature, it will allow you to see the last minute of their life through their eyes.
Whoa.
That's doperoni pepperoni.
What happens if you drink tea made from it?
Trip balls.
You see your own death.
No, see, then you
Oh.
crack the code and you die. No, it's with a ceremonial plant like this, it is, you could waste it on making tea, although you know that the fact that this is an incredibly rare plant, it would be an absolute travesty to do so.
Oh, I'm not gonna do it.
But Sin, no.
Sin would make tea.
Yeah.
Hide it from G.
Fucking thief!
Hide it from him immediately.
Where'd Poppy hide those cookies?
It right in front of his gift. I had to smack his hand every few minutes.
I forgot it was. Okay, so she she bows graciously, as graciously as somebody with half a horse body can do, and she says, "Thank you, Urilla." She kind of like looks around and just kind of everywhere she can. She doesn't know what's going on, and takes the gifts, and she it's like, I will treasure these and keep them safe. And then she walks backwards until she gets back to like the pews.
Mm-hmm.
And then she turns around and she goes and like opens the door, and she's like, I'm done.
So while she was in there, what did you guys do or talk about?
I spy with my little eye.
We played hacky sack.
something Great.
Poppy, it's the stone wall again.
Which specific stone, though?
The north?
How'd you know?
You were
Wait, you're
looking
really
at...
good at this game. Poppy was staring directly at it, wide-eyed.
We were probably all just chatting casually.
Mhm.
Tendy helped Sing bring his boar in. They did not do a good job, but they tried, bless them.
You inch it a little bit closer to the door in anticipation, going, "Hey, if at any point in time, let it be known that he did get help bringing this in, a little bit more."
Curtis
Okay.
sort of like looks down at the boar with disdain, maybe? It's stinky. Perhaps you should go next and...
That's what I was thinking, since you're all already out here.
Are you sure you don't want any of us in there with you? It's not like the gods show up.
No, I have to do it by myself.
All right. As you wish.
Sin,
Tendy spell good for another 1 hour.
okay. Sin looks down at his leather, looks back up, then he grabs the boar and heads inside.
Okay, and you pass by Mara as she exits the worship hall, and you enter inside, and the doors close behind you as you bring the long defeated and dead giant boar to the offering table. The table is certainly strong enough, you believe, to hold this boar.
Then walks up, and tosses the boar down. He says, "Is the creature that I bested in violence? But that's not all you asked for." Sin takes his carving knife from his side. He grabs the boar's head, turns it upright, and then slits its throat. "You also asked for blood."
Where does the blood spray?
Probably just in front, because he pulled the head of it back, and then he slit its throat so it would have sprayed along the altar, and then probably gushed out from there as he dropped it.
What starts as an initial gush that does splatter at the initial incision splashes up onto the green cover and the couple of steps leading up to the altar itself. Before the blood obviously turns to a more trickle as it kind of covers your hand and drips down the boar's, distended belly and begins pooling at the floor at your feet.
Not sure what else to do, but this is what she asked for. So I trust that it will suffice. Sin steps back a couple steps and just waits.
Some time passes. No, there's not been an equal amount of time. Everyone has varying levels of patience. And the blood itself, due to how cold it is, starts to not solidify, but start to sort of lose its it's a very, very dull color to begin with because it's been preserved for so long. But roll me a perception check. The wind howls outside.
Then turns to... Is there any... Are there any open areas to the outside that are visible from inside the temple?
No, from inside the worship hall, no.
Okay.
It is enclosed.
So Sin will just turn to wherever he heard the noise the most.
Just kind of towards the ceiling, perhaps, but you hear the wind kind of howling as it whips by. You kind of look up for a moment. And the torchlight and the candlelight all blow out. You are in complete darkness. You have dark vision, obviously, but...
Right. Then turns around.
Which way are you facing?
He's facing currently away from the altar, but then turns back toward the altar.
As you begin to turn, you hear a familiar sound. Although, curious, because you're the one that normally makes it. But it's the sound of an axe coming out of its sheath.
Then grabs for his axes out of just habit, but stops before he unsheathes them.
The ever so quiet and ever so intimidating father from your last meeting stands behind the altar with his antlered head and tall, imposing figure, and his two eyes glow with like a deep red. And you see he pulls out a small, or he actually pulls out he's holding in his hands a great axe. Not in an attacking motion, but just kind of a pulling it out and holding it sort of stance.
All right, he's holding it, but not in a threatening way.
Right.
Okay. Sin will relax. Just look up at the figure, at his father.
The hunter points down in front of the altar and in front of him.
Then looks in front of him, but quickly back, not wanting to take his eyes off of.
In your mind, you hear his gruff voice. Approach.
Sin immediately will walk towards the altar.
As you begin to walk around the giant boar and the blood that's on the floor, he takes the axe and his other arm and presses the blade into it just ever so slightly to where you know that it has pierced his skin. And as he removes it slowly, a thin red line of exposed like blood and muscle just is there. Not really bleeding so much as it is just kind of a large like foot long open wound on his forearm. And then as you get up to stand in front of the altar, he takes that same arm and reaches out.
Then he's reaching for my arm, or he's reaching. Okay, so Sin gives him his arm.
He slowly lowers it onto to where you're kind of angled it onto the altar itself. And he flips the other side of the blade around and then begins to press it to your skin, and his eyes don't leave yours. He hasn't done anything yet, but you feel the cold blade against your arm.
And has a moment where he thinks about Tendy's gift to him and decides that whatever this is, he's going to take it.
Is your forearm bare, or is it covered?
Which arm is this?
You tell me.
Okay. It's his right arm, and his right arm is bare.
Okay. So it happens in a way that I don't have to reverse which arm I was using in the camera angle, but so against your right arm, he pauses there waiting.
Then uses it to cut his arm.
So you kind of grab the top part of the haft and push down?
Yeah, he grabs the top, and then he goes ahead and pushes it into his arm.
It is tough at first, but he then also provides a bit of assistance as the axe breaks through your. Is it chitinous? Is it rough, or is it just like skin?
Sin's arm on the underside would be softer.
Okay.
It's not chitinous like the other, like the harder side of the arm.
Okay. So a little bit of resistance before the skin, the softer skin breaks, and the cold, sharp axe blade enters into your arm, and as sharp as it is, blood immediately begins to seep around the blade's edge. You take 12 points of damage. He then, after a moment of still just keeping his eye on you, lifts the blade out slowly. And then takes his arm and his hand grasps at your elbow to where the two of your cuts align. Assuming that you do the same.
Yes. Sin will mirror him as much as he can.
Okay. As he continues to look at you, he sets the axe on top of the altar. He looks down at it. And then back up to you. And in your head, in your mind, you hear, "Take it back."
Sin takes it.
Your life. Take it back. And you more so are in pain now than when the axe pierced your skin, and it causes you to kind of just like, whether that's a shrill howl in your ears, causes you to wince, and you no longer feel his hand clutching your elbow. You no longer see him standing in front of you, and the candles and torches themselves blaze back to life, lighting the room in a pitiful display of what would be bright light, but it would be in fact just slightly good dim light, or really good dim light. The boar, the blood, all of it is gone. Your wound remains, but it is not bleeding. And the axe is gone too. No, I'm kidding. The axe is there.
Sin looks down at his arm. And he just thinks about what he said about taking it back. And he nods to himself. He grabs the axe in front of him. And then gets a good look at it.
What there is in the center of the blade, or in the center of the great axe, is a very good engraving of a battle, to which a being in the center with a great axe, and many foes, or at least bodies, at their feet. And you see maybe spirits or souls or ghosts or something floating above each of the bodies on the ground, heading towards the axe head. as if it were absorbing them, becoming part of them, or becoming part of the axe.
Finn stops on it briefly, looking at that engraving, and when it puts it together in his mind, but doesn't quite understand exactly what is meant by it. Guess I'll find out later. And he puts the axe at his back and walks out of the room.
Okay.
And that's why I think we should use ginger in cooking more often. Oh, hi, Sin.
I'm finished.
Good job.
How's
How'd
your
it go?
daddy?
It went well.
I just wanted, you see, rounding the corner, Harlow. I prepared, the water's boiling now. Any of you want leek and lentil soup?
Prudence stands up from where she'd been cross-legged on the floor. I will come with you, Paulo. I am done with my duties.
I will also join you if that's okay.
Sure. You're right this way, thank you.
Tindy, Leostin, you guys are last. Who's going next? And can I come with you? I want to see.
Leostin looks down at Tendy.
Tendy wants to go.
Tendy has to be out of here shortly. That's why Tendy wants to go.
Come with Tendy. Okay.
Oh wait, I don't want to go. I don't go with Harlow.
Finn still goes.
Okay. So Sin, you follow Harlow into the mess hall.
Yeah.
Leostin goes with Tendy.
So who's all going in?
Okay.
Poppy's going in.
Prudence is going in to watch Tendy.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
So Tendy is going to go in, and they pull out like a very big like package thing that they've been carrying, and it's like not their size, but it's like this. If you held a pillow, it's about that size in comparison. And they go up to the altar, and they are 3'2" with ears, so they are tiny, but they kind of like unwrap this package a little bit. And as they do, they go,
Okay, listen. Poppy also has same present, but Tendy's present very good.
and they unwrap it, and it's a scarf, and it kind of looks identical to their scarf, except it's gold and blue, and it's really, really badly made, like really bad. It's all lumpy, and like the crochet stitches are like very far apart, and you can tell that they made this scarf, and they put it up on the table that they can't see the top of, and they go,
Tendy loves Tendy's scarf very, very much, and Tendy wants Grandpa to also love Tendy's scarf, and so Tendy got Grandpa's scarf too, and Tendy made it, and Tendy is doing such a good job.
and to reiterate, it is a Tendy-sized Tendy scarf, and it will not fit a big dragon, and Tendy is so proud of this present. And then they take both hands like a cat gif and go on the table.
Okay.
Yes.
The response is almost immediate. The green cover does not move, but all of you feel a warm rush of wind. Quite warm. Very dry. Drier than the cold weather that this has. Just a brief rush of incredibly warm, hot wind. And the sound of chimes, like, off in the distance. The gust of wind, of course, as it dies down, does slightly move the green cover towards the end, but it stayed pretty resolute during the largest part, the bruntest part of that gust.
Can I ask really quick? Do I recognize this temple that we're in? Like, is this the temple that I went to in my dream, or no?
It's hard to tell because of the no, there were no pews, and you couldn't see the ceiling. Yeah.
Okay, Tendi will pull back the thing and see what's under there.
It's a giant dragon out for your blood. Roll initiative. No, I'm kidding.
Yay, Grandpa! Tendi looks it.
There is similarly wrapped, something that is wrapped inside of a cloth.
Tendi will take it.
Come.
And open it.
As you unwrap the cloth from this item, you can tell that the things that are kind of odd is there are loops, like metallic loops, fixed to the sides and bottom of what looks to be like a woven cloak.
Ooh.
Where you possibly could put hands and or feet. The thing that was being wrapped is a metal frame, and inside of this metal frame is a single piece of crystal about the size of a fist that is in a three-dimensional hexagon shape. The metal frame would make it appear to look like a lantern.
Oh, Tendi holds it like it's a lantern. And turns around and holds it up and shows it to everybody.
Poppy claps.
You're doing great, sweetie.
Austin nods.
Tendi turns back and bows to the table and goes,
Thank you, Grandpa. Bye.
and leaves. I want to know more about this thing, but I will have to know more about it another time.
Mm-hmm. Perhaps maybe a short rest. Okay. That leaves Grumpy Man.
Oh, Wumpy. Are we still going?
I don't see what... Oh, it is 9:30, isn't it?
Yeah.
Prudence doesn't
Up to
ask
you.
Lee
I can just
Austin.
mute.
Okay.
Prudence doesn't ask Lee Austin if he wants privacy. She just keeps sitting there.
Meanwhile... we'll go with the Austin, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Lee Austin turns back and looks at them, like, is half expecting them to, like, leave, but none of them do. Unless they do.
Well,
Prudence just gives you like the brightest smile and like kind of like sits back in the pew.
He's
So
not gonna...
do you want us to leave?
Prudence covers your mouth, Poppy.
No.
It's,
Go on.
it is alright. You may stay. So Lee Austin goes up to the altar, and he still has his his side satchel, and it's been pretty heavy this whole trip. He's kind of kept it close to himself, and he kind of puts the big blanket velvet thing back into it, like on top of the table, and he pulls out of his bag first a tankard, and he puts it on top, pulls out a bottle of mead, pours one out for the homies, aka dad, not the homies, but the one and true homie, the dad. He pours out a glass of mead, puts out a few like foodie items, like things that were able to survive the trip without being too nasty. And then he puts down a little like sort of catch-all like trinket plate, and he takes out his like utility knife, whatever he has, like his gear knife, and cuts his finger, and in this catch-all sort of like draws like a little like a forerune, which I think it's not the T one. So in it he draws it's a line with a square and a diamond shape, and then two of the legs extend out.
Okay.
And then he purposely puts everything in a big arch. And when he's done, he pulls out the biggest and heaviest thing in his bag, which is his old chainmail, the one that he had been wearing until he had this suit altered and fixed up. And he lays it out onto the table and kind of kneels at the altar and kind of like doesn't actually get into a praying pose, but he kind of just like puts his hands reverently on the altar and begins to speak. And he says, "Or, God of the thunder, God of the harvest, God of the warriors of battle, you told me to bring a gift, and you also set me to tasks. And I believe that the gift I have brought you is proof that I can fulfill the longest one you gave me, the order to live." And he kind of folds out this chainmail, and it's old as shit. It is covered in. It's got a little bit of rust on it, but clearly it's been taken care of well enough that it has served him well. There are new patches, old patches. There are parts that he just took a piece of like leather and quickly just put it back together. A whole lifetime of battle and fighting and stinky, sweaty man is just embedded in this chainmail. And he kind of like feels over it and kind of starts talking about how he starts saying, "This chainmail originally was given to me by my mother, Saga the Terrible. And she gave me a similar order. She told me to live, to wear it well, to wear it into battle, and to do not die. And given my age, I believe I have done a fairly good job of doing it so far. I give you the gift of the life I had before. This is every battle, every march, every campaign. Every time I set sail, I wore this armor. And I gift it to you so that way you may see the life I had before and know who your son is." And with that, he kind of like just kind of rocks back on his heels and like looks up to the ceiling.
Time passes. How long do you wait?
As long as it takes. He's waited 50 some years. He can wait a few more minutes.
During the next hour, anyone else but Leofston in the room, do you leave the room or do you sit with him in silence for the next hour?
Oh, wait.
Poppy will wait, but she's like ready to go. She's like, oh my god, come on.
Leofston is like stone still the whole time. Just barely, you could tell he's still breathing, he's still alive, but he is not moving.
Sin, you have been helping. You've been helping Harlow add the ingredients to this stew that he's been preparing. During that time, you have been asked a question, and we will actually just go ahead and put that for a text RP between Harlow and you. But an awfully long time for Tendi and Leofston to both present their stuff. But you're kind of wrapped up in helping Harlow with the old man seems to struggle to reach certain places and whatnot. And at one point in time, he, with his back turned to you, he pauses. And longer than he usually would for his old age. And for the first time that you have been there and seen him, he stands up completely straight. And the man's body turns around, eyes rolled to the back of his head. With a smile on his face, and walks with purpose out of the room, as if he were just newly a man. Do you do anything?
At that action, Sin would definitely follow to find out what's going on.
Before he leaves the room, he grabs what looks to be just a covered bundle of something. And you've been in this room with him for an hour. You didn't see it there before. Soon the doors to the worship hall open, and Harlow, standing very tall and very proud for an old man such as him, holding in his arms some sort of wrapped leather, loosely wrapped, begins walking straight towards you, Leofston, with a speed that is kind of unusual for a man of his age, obviously.
Leofston, like, kind of like cool guy, like looks over his shoulder somewhat and sees that it's like, see how much he's changed, and taking hold of the altar, like rises to his feet and turns to meet Harlow, like as in just face him, not necessarily like walk over. Like he turns to face him approaching.
He stops a few feet, couple feet from you. Eyes still just completely white, as they have appeared to have rolled to the back of his head. He doesn't appear to be in pain, doesn't appear to be in any sort of internal struggle against something, and his mouth sort of just slowly opens as he begins to channel a voice coming from that mouthpiece without his lips moving. Douse the flame of hope. It's not enough to merely defeat your enemy in battle. Your victory must be so overwhelming. Your enemy's will to fight is shattered forever. A blade can end a life. Fear can end an empire. Rule with an iron fist. Once you have conquered, tolerate no dissent. Your word is law. Those who obey it shall be favored. Those who defy it shall be punished, as an example to all who might follow. Strength above all. You shall rule until a stronger one arises. Then you must grow mightier and meet the challenge, or fall to your own ruin. And give me an arm, left or right?
Right.
Your arm burns. Not in flames, but underneath you feel something with the intensity of more hurtful and as far as you've gotten the tattoos of your time and your conquests. This hurts more. You can't see what is exactly there, but it is all at once, and it is everything, and you manage to still face Harlow, or the voice from Harlow. The burning sensation does begin to die down.
Austin kind of like tenses and his like arms kind of shakes. He kind of like very clearly is like struggling with it, but he doesn't cry out. He just kind of like sweat just kind of from under his helmet like drips out off his beard and onto his armor. And he like keeps his hand clenched until it like starts fading away, and like starts taking deep breaths and kind of like recovering from what it was. But he kind of gives like his arm a glance, but he can't see what it is under the armor yet.
Harlow at that point in time, still eyes rolled back, still under some sort of will not of his own, extends his arms out with the loosely wrapped leathers.
Favoring his right arm, he reaches out with his left to, unless he needs both of them, but he's clearly favoring his right arm as he reaches out for the bundle.
You kind of, the draped leather, you kind of pull to the side to see what is underneath. And the Harlow is clutching a set underneath of even more, actually, hold on, let me see. Oh, you see, he's clutching in his hands a sword. But it seems that there's something else in the hand that is holding the hilt. Not the, yeah, the holdy part. It is small, it is cloth, not very big, but you can see it underneath there, kind of whitish tan underneath, but he presents the sword.
Austin reaches out to take it and kind of bows his head as a thank you, but kind of like, does he have time to look at the little claw thing, or?
I mean, it's underneath, so you have to take the sword first.
So Austin will take the sword and then hold it in his left hand as his right, kind of fumbling, like kind of like tries to use his thumb to open up what the cloth is.
As the sword leaves Harlow's grasp, his hands clench, and he holds in the that cloth, that like small bit of cloth that is folded in upon itself, and his arms then fall to their sides, but tightly clenched.
Am I gonna have to beat up an old man?
Hey dog, I don't think you gave me that last part of the gift. No, he stands there.
Austin he's still holding the sword out and staring at him, expecting the return. But like it's starting to like kind of like
he's just there.
Austin tries to reach out for that hand.
Well, you can reach out for it, but It doesn't. He doesn't. The arm doesn't move. The hand does not unclench.
Leosin tries to be a lot more forceful with it.
Give me a strength check.
Oh, I've got strength for days! E.
It's not budging.
Can I roll inspo?
Can you what?
Roll inspiration.
Sure. You
Or should I have said that first?
normally, just a reminder. I know we don't use it that often, but normally you'd want to do it before I say what happens.
Okay,
But yeah.
I'm very, very sorry.
You're fine.
11.
Okay. Make sure to spend that point of inspiration.
I did.
Okay. You know Harlow's not this strong, but something else is keeping that hand shut. Sin, obviously, you come in as even before the speaking starts, so you join the rest of everyone.
Yeah, I was going to ask, but I didn't want to interrupt.
Yeah, no, you're good.
I'm struggling with wanting to beat up an old man in front of everybody. Yeah, that's the other thing I'm thinking about.
Prudence stands up and starts ushering Tendy and Poppy out of the room.
But why? It's just getting.
I
Gotta
just
find out what's happening.
I need to talk to you in private, if you don't
Oh,
mind.
okay. Okay. I'll meet you out there.
As they're doing that, Leofson unsheaths a new sword to both look at it and to look at it.
Well, what kind of sword would you like? Longsword?
Yeah. Leofson's a longsword kind of guy.
Oh, well, it is a longsword. Describe how it looks to me.
So, this new sword is made out of... The blade is made out of different tempered metals in order to create, like, not the ultimate, but like a very, very solid base that makes it much harder to... At least makes it look prettier. And the metal itself kind of resembles Damascus, which is like kind of like waves and ripples of dark blue or dark gray and like silver. And it's kind of hard to see normally unless you like breathe onto the blade itself or like in certain lights. Though instead of Damascus, this one is silver and a more of a blue metal, like a dark blue metal. The crossbar is that's Damascus steel, so it looks like that, but instead of like grays, it's like more like blues. And the crossbar is pretty simple. It's like it's thick enough to hold a bunch of like kind of Celtic-y Nordic designs, and it protects his hand from like from catch stuff with it. And then the handle itself is just a simple wrapped leather, and the end of the blade, the end of the hilt, has like sort of like an oval shape that has 3 bumps in the top. That's very like reminiscent of like older blades.
In a place where it is appropriate, there is also another symbol on it that you notice. It is the Valknut.
I would say best place for that would be on that cap piece or just under the crossbar. like in the metal. Probably the metal. Is that better for you?
Then it is there.
Well, he also takes a minute to like appreciate the sword and kind of like roll his wrist with it a little bit to kind of like just test like the weight of it. And when he's satisfied, he brings it like very sharply, very quickly onto Harlow's shoulder, like close to his neck, but not like biting into flesh quite yet.
At this time, Harlow kind of leans forward a bit. And sees the sword and kind of looks up at you and realizes he's not where he once was. What? He kind of backs up a bit from you. What is this? We don't have anything.
The item in your hand. And he puts his hand out expectingly, but he lifts his sword so that way Harlow can move around without like cutting himself. But it's still there, and he just puts his other hand out for the item.
He takes your sword and just no, okay, not kidding. He looks at his hand like what are you talking about? And he sees this folded cloth, and for a moment he just kind of looks at it, puzzled.
It belongs to me, and that's all you need to know.
I was told it belongs to all of you. But here, and he hands it over to you.
Leosin takes it and lifts his sword, but kind of like hesitates for a second, like, and then tucks it back into his sheath, puts it on his.
My apologies. I must have gotten mixed up. Maybe it was the leeks. I need to check and make sure I don't overcook the stew. Oh my dear. And he kind of looks around at the surrounding area, seeing that everything is as it is, and he goes and grumbles as he goes back to as if nothing ever happened to him. Confused of his transportation between the mess hall / kitchen and the worship hall, and goes back to his cooking.
Leosin kind of like, again, cool guy, looks over his shoulder and looks at to see if his offering was taken. Or clearly he's got the gifts, but he just want to make sure was the offering taken.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything, like or just like the chainmail.
The chainmail. The wine. The cup is empty.
Good. It's his favorite. So Leostin packs up like whatever his tools of like for his altar back up, and he exits the worship hall. But he's like kind of like clutching his arm to his chest, like big owie.
Okay. And you all leave the worship hall then?
I escorted the littles out.
And
earlier, 'cause I thought the officer was going to kill an old man.
They also thought he was going to kill an old man.
so we'll pick up after your offerings to the gods and next week. I could tell you what you all got if Tendi would like to stay on just for a little bit more. Okay. So we'll pick up next week with some leek and lentil soup. Hot damn.